So,
do you want to sit down in?
hi folks, it's Shabazz again from Freedom Expeditions. We've got a few midges starting to happen. We're up in Scotland at the moment, and yesterday we did Creesha, and today we're doing 2 Munros, which I've completely forgotten the names of, but I'm going to introduce somebody to you in a moment who does know the names. But yeah, so there's another edition here of Freedom Talks. And it's really nice that some people have started calling them the Freedom Walks, which I never even thought of. So, you know, thank you for that. So yeah, I'm going to introduce, this is Ismail Hewitt, top chap.
I'm okay.
And yeah, we're just going to have another chat basically. You can see where we are. Look at this. Look at that. And there's the famous ridge in the background, which we were thinking of doing, but we've decided not to. As you can see, it's all in cloud. So yeah, so I'm just going to let Ismail introduce himself, whatever he wants to say.
So my name's Ismail. I'm a mountain leader. I stay in Dundee here in Scotland, and I'm currently working my way through all of the Munros. This was 91, and hopefully I'll get 92 later today, inshallah. And usually you can find me in the hills every weekend.
Yeah, when he's not in the hills, he's sitting on his couch.
Yeah, no, literally 16 hours a day in front of a laptop.
Yeah.
That's my life.
So yeah, I wanted to ask you about something, because we've had a chat yesterday and today about various things and what have you, and some really interesting things have come up. And always the big one is mental health. We're always going back to mental health. And you mentioned a number of things to me, so it's up to you what you want to say, because obviously we're on camera. But what does mental health mean to you, as an example, you know, a question, but what does being in the outdoors mean to you as well?
Yeah. So I lived in London for a long time, actually, and obviously living in London, you don't have particularly good access to the hills, to the mountains, even like the outdoors. It's not particularly exciting or adventurous. It doesn't really scratch that itch. So I found that if I didn't really get outside, if I didn't, you know, get exploring, have weekends away, just camping, for example, it was like a big dark black cloud over me, and it would get pretty bad at times. Actually, alhamdulillah, like I never got suicidal, it never got that bad, depression, but it does hit you hard. So for me to get out here and just appreciate, I mean, all of this really is quite important for me personally, and I started quite late doing this. It's just something I've realised that I was missing the whole time.
Yeah, because on Facebook, you know, when you get the memories that come up, there was one where we were crossing the bridge.
Oh, and you pointed out the kilts.
And I pointed out the kilt. Yeah, and that was, I don't know, about 3 or 4 years ago, something like that.
2015.
Was that 2015?
That's 2015.
Right, okay. Yeah, and it was like, I remember when we did that trip and you went to the top of Ben Nevis in the kilt, and we were all like, what?
I think that was my first time on the Ben as well.
Was it?
I think it's my first time on the
Right.
Ben.
Yeah. And it's just, it's really interesting, because I've been on my own journey as well, and I still got long way to go, but it's just really, really nice and humbling to watch other people on their journey and see how they're doing and how far they're willing to go and what they want to do and all that sort of stuff. Because we both come through our ML sort of journey, and we're both thinking about winter ML as well, and then see what else we do. But certainly for me, you know, the winter ML is not about getting extra work. It's actually just to prove to myself that I can do that sort of stuff. That I'm able to navigate in blizzards and all that sort of stuff and survive those sorts of temperatures. I don't know what it's like for you, you know, what you think about it, but
Yeah. I mean, yeah, because I was mentioning earlier, I'm not too fussed about getting my assessment done. I'd like to get the training just so I know, like, for me personally, I've got the skills. I can sort of handle myself in the hills. And then, you know what, I can totally see myself getting through the training and thinking, yeah, you know what, I'll go for assessment. Because it's exactly how summer ML worked out as well.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
wasn't too fussed about the assessment, but then
Yeah.
eventually I got it. I was just like, you know what, let me just go for it. Why not?
Yeah,
I can see that happening with winter
yeah,
as well.
yeah. No,
Definitely.
absolutely. Yeah. What is it about? Because it's something that's happened for me now. Because every time I've come to Scotland, it's always been in the winter.
Okay.
So I've always done winter climbing and all that sort of stuff. Well, I started in 2015, so I'm kind of like, going along. I've never ever come to Scotland to do walks like this. So yesterday was the first hike on Crucia that I've ever done in summer in Scotland.
Well, you've done the Ben.
Oh,
Unless you
right.
count
Well,
charity
yeah,
climbs on the
I'm
Ben.
not counting charity climbs or whatever. Yeah, it's just the Ben's the Ben, you go up and down it. I mean, how many times it gets to you after. But this is the first time I've actually come out into the mountains proper. That's how I'm seeing it anyway. I loved it. But one thing that's really struck me, and we were talking about this because we were looking at doing a little bit of crag work and setting up belays and anchors and things like that, and just kind of practicing and going through that. If you're in Wales or Cumbria, you don't need to walk that far to find, it could be by the roadside and you could actually do something. There's a couple of spots, but really you've got to go up into the mountains to find the crag and all that sort of stuff, find anything decent. And plus, when you're here, you want to go up anyway.
Be a shame not to.
Yeah, because like my legs were really hurting from yesterday because it's the first proper mountain I've done since March, and I was just like, oh my God, this is too much. And we were thinking about what we're going to do today. And I thought, no, forget it. I nearly swore there. Sorry. We've got to go up. And I mean, how could you not go up? And look, for those who are interested in the Anochigach, and I know there's a couple of my friends are, look, there it is. And it's just, I mean, you look at that and go, I want to go up it. I want to go up it.
Not in clouds. Wait for a clear day.
We'll wait for a clear day. Yeah, absolutely.
Get the views.
But it's just, yeah, and I think the way the psychology, I don't know how to put this, but to me it's almost like it's the psychology of the mountains. Each mountain range area has its own sort of feel, and you react, you feed off it.
Different hills have different characters.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's what I wanted to ask you about.
Okay.
Because I know you've been around in different places, but when I first met him, his whole thing was about Scotland. Everything was about Scotland. And now that you're here, you can see, because I said this to him yesterday, he's completely changed. His face has changed, the way he is, he's just like at ease with. Do you feel like that?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Like I'm home sort of thing,
Yeah,
like
exactly. Yeah.
It's like a feeling of sakina, finally, alhamdulillah.
So let's explain what sakina means to people who don't know that.
Sakina is kind of like a feeling of inner peace.
Yeah.
I think it's the simplest way to put it.
Yeah.
It's a contentment as well.
It's a contentment, a calmness.
Inner calmness.
There's many meanings to it, but absolutely.
So even in this time, like lockdown, COVID, and obviously there's a lot of uncertainty in the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can forget all of that for a few hours, come up into the mountains, and you do find inner peace. And I definitely find that as well.
Now, see, that does lead me on to another issue.
All right.
Okay, which is how many people are lucky enough to either to come up to an altitude like this, up into the range of mountains like this, and feel safe and know what they're doing. How many people want to?
Yeah.
Because yesterday I was just driving through Glencoe, and where the Three Sisters are, the Hidden Valley, all those car parks, I saw loads of people just parked up, and you got parents, little kids, dotted all over the place and really enjoying themselves. And you can see the look on their face. They're like, this is fantastic. But they're not going to come up into the mountains, and they're not going to, get the gear on and all that sort of stuff, or pay for a guide to take them up here. They're just so content, and it lifted my mood, until I started thinking about littering.
Yeah. So long as they don't trash the laybys, that's fine. Yeah, because it's different folks have
I'm not saying they were, I'm just saying
activities.
yeah.
So like you said, some people will come out for a weekend and camp. Like I would say, I don't particularly understand this. Like camping for me is like you camp to climb, you camp to do other things. But for some, that's adventurous enough, and that's
Yeah,
fine. It's a good stepping stone.
yeah.
Other people would prefer to come out here and do sea kayaking or
Mm.
canoes or whatever. Other people would prefer rock climbing, hill walking,
Which we're
mountain
come back in
biking.
September to do that.
Yeah. But it's like different people have their different preferences, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Just do what makes you happy. I think that's the
Yeah,
important
that's
part.
it.
Yeah.
And again, we were talking about this yesterday because Ismail and me are very different. So we got to the top of Cretia, okay? Now he'll say I didn't get to the top of Cretia, but he did, right? And the reason being is when you get to the top of Cretia, there's there's a pile of stones, okay? And you look at that and you think, no, the cairn's just further on because there's a bit of a ring contour, there's a dip, and then you go up, okay? So he carried on, and I stayed where I was. I actually wasn't feeling very well, and it was just a lot of things happened to me yesterday. So I stayed where I was, and Ismail got to the top, and when he looked back, he thought I looked higher up than he did. And when I was looking at him, I thought he looked higher up than I did. There's not much in it. There's about a meter or so.
Yeah, I
was
mean,
just checking the
it
map.
could be pretty much the same height.
Yeah.
It's just the cairn happens to be on the second
That
spot.
cairn
height.
happens to be on the second
It's
spot.
about 200 meters apart.
Yeah, 200 meters apart. Now he was saying, "Don't you want to go up?" I said, "No, I'm quite happy. I've done it."
You fool!
And I think, and then it led to another conversation, which is, for me, and I know Ismail does feel a lot of this as well, which is, for me, a good mountain day isn't necessarily getting to the top.
Yeah, no.
And recently I shared an article that Chris Townsend had shared about summiting mountains is not the end, the be all and end all of mountaineering or being in the outdoors. It's about, I could be quite happy to walk up into a valley, scramble around on some of the rocks and spend all day on there and then walk back. That to me would be like a fantastic day out. And I sit there, enjoy the scenery, reflect, ponder, that sort of stuff. And I used to do all the big challenges and all that sort of stuff. And I just don't want to do them anymore. I just, not me, I just cannot see the point of doing the National Three Peaks in 24 hours.
Yeah, no, it doesn't make sense.
Lots of people do it, and I know I've got lots of friends who guide on them, instruct on them, whatever, lead, whatever. But I just don't want to do them anymore because I'm absolutely and I haven't experienced the mountains. I want to experience the mountains. So I stood here, whether we'd be chatting anyway, so it doesn't matter whether we record it or not. The point is we're chatting anyway, and it's the company, it's the scenery, it's the feel of these mountains, the psychology of these mountains. I'm not sure if psychology is the right word, but I'm sure you get my meaning. It's just amazing. Yeah. And if I was by myself, I'd just be sat here and be going, wow. But it's, for me, it's a connection. It's a connection with my Lord, with my Creator. Now, I know not everybody sees it that way, which is absolutely fine, but that's how I see it. And I had a wonderful conversation when I first met Nigel Vardy, who was, some of you might know as the Iceman, who was rescued off, I think it was Mount McKinley.
Denali, yeah.
Denali, sorry,
Well,
that's
same one.
Yeah.
Alaska.
And he was, amazing guy. And we were just chatting, and he sees it in the similar way. It's his church. It was his way of connecting with his God, with his Creator. And so for me, it's not about, I don't worship, and I can't think of any other way to say it at the moment. So maybe somebody else will find a better way, or at least you'll get the meaning that I'm trying to convey here. I don't worship the mountains, and I don't worship what I can see around me. It's a means to an end for me. I don't know if
No, it has to be.
No, it has to, yeah. But I was wondering how you would say it. Would you say in a similar way?
It's
or?
sort of a reminder that there's something bigger than yourself up there.
Yeah.
And for us, obviously Muslims, it's Allah, and the reminder that this didn't all just come into being.
Yeah.
Obviously there's the science and the reality, but yeah, we do believe that at the root of it all, Allah is the creator of this world, and it is a big reminder for that.
Yeah, and I do know. I mean, since I've been working in the outdoors, nearly all my colleagues, acquaintances, people I know are either non-Muslim or, you know, they've got certain aspects of religion about them, or maybe they don't. Quite a lot of them don't. But I've never had an uncomfortable conversation with any of them, because everybody knows, who knows me, knows where I'm coming from. And I've never had to hide the fact. I've never had to, and that's what I love about the people of the outdoors. All you outdoor instructors that I've worked with, thank you, honestly, because it's just, I've never had to have that weird conversation, or I felt I've had to hide what I really think, or, you know, because we all have that same experience. We get to the top, or we're sitting on a ledge and we all go, wow. Doesn't matter what you believe, we all have that same experience. And I think that's the thing that connects us. But it all comes back to this thing about mental health as well. You know, is that we do find something, don't we, that, as you say, not necessarily allows us to forget, but maybe it allows us to understand, or just handle, or just accept what's going on in our lives that we don't like.
It's sort of taking a breath, taking a moment up to pause and just take a breath, and then sort of cracking on with things.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Right, I think we're gonna leave it there. It's a nice short one today. Yeah, because it's just too good. You know, sometimes you just got to enjoy the moment, haven't you, rather than just filming stuff and taking photographs. And I know I do a lot of it, so I'm talking to myself. But yeah, it's just wow. Right, see you later, folks. As ever, I know there's a couple of you been in touch with me, private messaged me that you want to do some of these talks. Yeah, we'll hook up and we'll do something. I'm planning on doing these for as long as people want, or, you know, whoever wants to do them. And I might end up just one day talking to myself and recording. Now that'll be weird, but you know, you never know.
Isn't that the definition of vlogging?
Yeah,
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there you go. I actually don't want to do that, but yeah.
You'll end up doing it.
Yeah, I hope not. But
You know, a fancy rig in your bedroom, like microphone and nice backlights and everything.
no, not a chance. It's got to be up here. Right, see you later, folks. Bye.